Question is about delayed ejaculation, right? So what happens essentially, why am I not having an orgasm? This question comes up for lots of people across gender, sexuality, background, age, all of the things. For you, what I'm hearing you say is that there's this painful memory that's involved in sex from the past, and that when it comes up in the current moment, that there's some sadness, there's some self-blame, and then this feeling of being small. Now, I want to set that aside for just a moment because I'm going to come back to it. Not having an orgasm when you really want to, or when you're in bed with somebody, or you're feeling pretty aroused, it can be really, really annoying. It can be so annoying. I've totally been in bed with somebody and really wanted to have an orgasm. I felt like I was so, so, so close. And then finally I just had to say, I can't do this anymore. I got to stop. There are a lot of different things that can affect our orgasm. Some of them are physical. Some of them are mental, where we are putting our mental energy. And some of the things that get in the way for us to have an orgasm are emotional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a couple of these with you and see, I want you to track which ones might apply to you. Lack of sleep, or you're in a funny sleep cycle, or your body needs rest, hydration and satiation. So being fully hydrated and being well fed, exercise or lack thereof. Like, have you been moving your body to generate blood flow? Because that's what orgasm is. Its most basic function is blood flow. Not moving your body when you are in arousal. So I want you to think of your genitals as like 5% of your total body geography, and everything else is 95%. If you are not moving your body, or you're not experiencing any kind of arousal, movement, energy, touch, play with 95% of your body, and you're only concentrating on 5% of your body, then we're missing out on a lot of territory, a lot of very rich territory for play and connection, and where this erotic energy can move around in your system. A couple other things that can affect your arousal and your orgasm: if there is constant or same stimulation, that can generate pain, numbness, boredom. I'm laughing because I can't tell you the number of times that I have been touched and I'm just like, oh, this is boring. We got to change something. I need to have something different. Having an agenda to get to orgasm, or being in this singular focus that I have to get to orgasm, I have to have an orgasm, or you, my partner, has to have an orgasm. This can be incredibly distracting. If we're on the orgasm agenda and you start to put pressure on yourself, or you start to put pressure on your partner, and there's this sense of performing, I have to perform. Anything that could be in your environment that could be distracting. The cat, the dog, being afraid that somebody in the next room is going to hear you, or in the next apartment next door. I have received notes on my cars from neighbors at different times in my life because I was too loud. So maybe that you might have this fear that you're going to be too loud, you're going to make too much noise. Not breathing or holding your breath during arousal. When we hold our breath, then we stop the flow of energy. We stop the flow of sensuality. Something else that can inhibit your orgasm is not wanting to have sex in the moment. As in, if you acquiesce and you say, yes, I'll have sex with you, but you're not really fully a yes, you're not fully present and excited to be there, or that you don't really want to have sex with the person that you're with. Sometimes you might love that person, but you're not really into, and you don't really like the sex that is available with that person. If that's true, that can also inhibit you having an orgasm. Where you are in your menstrual cycle, your hormone cycle, where you are in your stress, where you are even in the time of day. I notice for myself, I usually have better sex. Like, I feel more in my body. I have more excitement. I feel more connected to my partner when we have sex earlier in the day rather than late at night, because I'm usually tired. And then there are some other pieces around people pleasing and performing or acquiescing. And then there is any time that you are feeling scared or anxious, you're annoyed, anytime that there's some part of you that is trying to protect yourself. So the question a little bit ago was, if I have a painful memory. So if this painful memory comes from the past, then there's some part of you that wants to jump into action and protect yourself. And this is the part of you that is like, it's not safe to relax and let go. It's not safe to be sexual. This part of yourself might be saying, I have to protect the part of you that experienced the painful memory in the moment, right? So in other words, you go from being present, like fully present, to I'm with this person right now, I'm fully engaged in the sexual experience, I'm having a really good time, to multiple split focus. One part of you is here present with this person. One part of you is starting to maybe analyze your body, or starting to feel sad because the memory is coming up. And then there's another part of you inside that's like activated and wanting to protect you, wanting to make sure that you're not in danger. So now you're really distracted. And anytime this kind of combination of big distraction, feeling sad, or blaming yourself, that's the recipe for collapsing in on yourself, right? And sometimes it can help to separate, to take a break, to come back. Sometimes it can help to ask your partner who's present with you to reassure you in some way. It could be, before you get into sex with them, it can be asking them, hey, if I start to feel sad, or if I start to feel scared, can you tell me that I'm totally safe with you and that it's okay to be wild. It's okay to let go. It's okay to whatever it is that you actually need to hear in that moment. This is a really important piece for you to be doing some work for yourself to figure out what is it that I need in the moment to shift from what's currently happening to where I want to be, in a place of safety, love, connection, play, joy, freedom. Part of what happens when we want to go from I'm having a really, really good time and then I get turned off or something distracts me, right? Before you get into your next sexual situation, you want to actually take a look at what are the things that are occurring for me internally in my body physically? What are the things that are occurring for me in my mind or my emotional space? And what do I need to do to mitigate any of these experiences? It could be something that you do for yourself, which is any of this list that I made, right? It could be physical, water, sleep, hydration. It could be walking around the block, but it also could be talking to your partner. I have been in this position myself before, and I have told my partner, look, sometimes I get really, really aroused and then I start to cry. And I want you to know there's nothing wrong with me in the moment. And what I really want from you in the moment is actually to stay really close to me, stay energetically close to me, stay physically close to me, and tell me that it's okay. Like it's okay to cry. It's okay to let go. It's okay to feel all the feels. And I will cry and I will have an orgasm and I will cry again. And then it will all subside. But what I had to do in order to get there was actually ask myself, what do I really need in that moment if it's going to come up? Now, that doesn't happen every single time, but there was a period of time in my life where that was happening fairly regularly. Even though I was really excited to have sex, even though I was really excited to have an orgasm, I was really into the partner that I was with. I really wanted to have sex and it was really fun. And when we first started having sex, I thought I feel totally safe. But then when I got to a certain level of arousal, there was something that scared me. There was something that came up and it was from the past. And it wasn't necessarily a particular memory every single time, but it was a flavor of, oh my God, you got to watch out for yourself. Or it was just a sensation of grief. Like I have a lot to cry about. And so when I started doing that, when I started telling my partner, this may occur and this is what I want from you, I was able to experience the emotions, experience the process at the same time, and then let it go. And it didn't mean that every single time in that moment, I would then have an orgasm. Sometimes I didn't. But actually, what was really valuable was that I was letting myself have arousal and have a cry, and that they happen at the same time. Sometimes we want to, I noticed this when I've worked with so many people over the years, is sometimes we as humans, we want to have like only one kind of emotional experience at a time. And we want to like push away any other kinds of emotions that we have. And so we like bifurcate ourselves and we tell ourselves internally, like, it's not okay that I feel sad. And it's not okay that I'm unhappy with this when I really want to feel happy and joyful. And I think that one of the most valuable and healing things that we can do, especially when it comes to sexuality, because so much of us have some kind of like pain, scarcity, trauma, just shit that we have that has hurt in the past, is actually let ourselves have all of the emotions all at once without forcing ourselves to discount some part of us or forcing ourselves to like push away or let go a part of what it is that we are feeling. And what's so valuable for me in my personal experience was that after I gave myself permission to have the sads as well as the happies all at once, the feeling aroused and feeling down all at once, was that because I gave voice to it, I also stopped blaming myself as if there was something wrong with me. I accepted that this is where I'm at right now. This is just what's occurring. And it's actually okay that this occurs. And it's okay that I let all of this move through me. And so the turning point was actually giving myself those experiences without trying to push them away, right? I still did many other things before getting into the sexual experience that I talked about, again, in terms of sleeping well, hydrating, having water at the bedside, stretching my body, moving my body, communicating clearly with my lover exactly what I want so that I felt really present. I want to invite you to allow this to happen again without pressure and actually create some planning for it. So in other words, I think there's a lot of pressure in our society that everyone should have an orgasm. So we can have pleasure without pressure. So when we make this declaration, this is never going to happen again, what if we get to this space and it does happen again? We can feel like we are locked into this, like, oh shit, we're in the oh shit spot, right? And so what I highly recommend is that you and your partner have a conversation when you're not in bed together and you just talk. You say, hey, this is a thing that has been coming up for me while we're playing. It actually doesn't have anything to do with you. Like I have this painful memory that sometimes shows up and then I get distracted. And I get distracted because I'm starting to feel sad. I get distracted because I think that, you know, I really want to be here and having a good time, but then some part of me is really sad. And so what I'd really like is in that moment, you know, I'll say, I'm starting to feel sad. And I would love if you would say, it's totally okay. I'm here with you. It's totally okay. I'm right here with you. And, you know, We can keep playing. I'm right here. I'll hold you. I'm right here. You can feel however you want to feel. Like, I'm right here with you. Some version of this, whatever resonates with you specifically, but some version of this. And my recommendation is that you have this conversation before you get into bed with them, like over the dinner table. So then when you do get into bed, if it does happen, if you do get sad, if this memory does show up, because that's the nature of memories, is that they pop up at random times, that if it just does happen again, you have created the environment in yourself to accept yourself. You've created the environment in your relationship. You've created the connection with your partner so that if this does show up, then instead of it being something that like shakes up your experience and derails your experience, it's really just like a blip, like a tiny little road bump, and you're still moving down the road. What do you think about what I've said?